Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching episode 6 of Shogun. So after Toranaga is rescued from certain death by Blackthorne for the second time, Blackthorne tries once again to try and get his ship and his crew back. But Toranaga is not budging on that, despite all the gifts that he's giving Blackthorne to try and keep him around. So he decides to send Blackthorne over to a brothel in order to have him assisted in a different way, in a way that Toranaga cannot provide. So Mariko still just has to go over to him as his interpreter, but Kiku is the one who ends up helping Blackthorne by sending him to the Willow World. Basically, it's more of a metaphor than anything, about helping him deal with his sadness, his boredom, his pain, etc., showing that prostitute work in Japan is a bit different than how it is with Western material. The courtesans are very classy. Help their people get through emotional conflicts in a concise way. They spend a lot of time learning how to pour sake the correct way. It's all about precision. It's all about emotional intimacy, and it's all about getting to know the people you're working with. I'm glad that this aspect is done very well here, especially considering that I know courtesan work, even in that era of Japan, was a lot different than it was in Western traditions. So naturally, it's an important aspect of Japanese culture to get right. Especially since I'm currently playing Rise of the Ronin, and they get that aspect down pretty well down too. But Team Ninja is a Japanese studio, so I figured they'd know more about that. Anyways, the other aspects of this episode that are delved into are Mariko's backstory and Ochiba basically taking over the Council of the Regents. Basically, she has every one of the regents wrapped in around her fingers. As the regents begin infighting, there's disagreements on who to make the fifth member of the council, which would cause them to be able to terminate Toranaga. And one of the council's regent members even ends up dead. So therefore, a false impeachment seems like it's very much in the future for Toranaga. But he's not going down without a fight. Even when the action scenes are done off screen, the aftermaths are still haunting to watch. Like, you see men and women being torn apart, their intestines ripped out, their arms slashed apart, but you don't see the actual action for it, but it still gives you enough information for you to just imagine how it happened. Sometimes leaving things up to the audience's imagination can be scarier and more haunting than if you actually see it. And this show knows how to do that very well, especially since you are able to get a lot of information about these characters without them saying it necessarily. You still get some information on how Ochiba was before this point. She does go over how she had to go through unmentionable things in order to get to the position she is at now. But you can still intuit a lot about her personality just by the way she talks and the way she holds herself. That's something that I appreciate about the show. They don't spell every single thing out for you, even when Mariko has to interpret a lot of what Blackthorne and the other characters are saying so that the two sides understand each other. That's sometimes used for humor, but it's also used to let you know how Mariko feels about something and how she has her limits when dealing with both Blackthorne and Toranaga. Especially since Toranaga helps her realize that her father marrying her away wasn't necessarily an act of cruelty of his. Perhaps it was an act of him trying to protect her from a fight that he knew she couldn't win, only for her to come back and to be able to win it in her own way when she was old enough and more capable to finish the fight in a way that only she can do. That's quite possibly a way to interpret things that would not only make her feel better, but also help her understand what was really going on. We have 4 episodes left, and a false impeachment for Toranaga is coming, so I suppose we'll see how things work out with that. See you next time.